Good morning, grade 9s. So previously in our lesson that we did on Monday, we looked at mutually exclusive events. So we looked at rolling a dice and saying 1 out of 6, what is the chance of getting that? Or getting 3 out of 6. So those were mutually exclusive events. Today we're going to focus on compound events. And by compound events, I mean independent events. We're looking at 1 out of 6 or 3 out of 6. We're looking at 1 out of 6 and 3 out of 6. In particular, before with your mutually exclusive events, we added, in this case, when we're looking at compound events, it's really important that you understand that here we multiply. So before we had, for example, P1, open your bracket, plus P, open your bracket, 6, would equal, and then you'd work out the probability. In this case now, we are saying P1, close your bracket, multiplied by P6, close your bracket, will give you the independent events. So it's really important you understand and grasp that. And in my lesson, you learners know that I like to be able to pause in the lesson. If you're not understanding anything, please raise your hands. Let me know if there's anything that you need clarity on, especially when I'm introducing something like this compound events. And in particular today, it's a whole new concept. So we will be doing lots of revision. We will be going through things systematically, step by step, doing scaffolding, teaching. And as you get confident in one thing, we'll be building on it. But you know that you're allowed to interrupt me at any stage and we can ask questions. Okay, so today let's just focus in particular compound events or independent events. There's two ways we can look at it. It's two-way tables or it's tree diagrams. What do we mean by two-way tables, and when and how do we use two-way tables for working out probability of compound events? So in particular, the two-way tables record and analyze relationships between two or more categories. So the table displays the frequency or probability of each combination of outcomes. And for example, that could be like, say you've got a male and a female and their mode of transport is a taxi or a bike. So in your table you'll represent those two things and you'll look at the probability of a male riding a bike versus a female using taxi as a transport, for example. So that is the one thing, is two-way tables with compound probability or compound events. Then the second option is tree diagrams. So in that particular case, a tree diagram is sequences of events, usually two or more. So in particular, say I'm going to a restaurant and I want to have a 3-course meal. And I want a starter, a main, and a dessert. I have 2 options for the starter, 3 options for the main, and 2 options for the dessert. Now, we will look at that tree event by looking firstly at the starter options. Me choosing broccoli soup versus butternut soup is 1 out of 2. Then I go on to the mains, and now I'm looking at, I can have chicken, beef, or I can have vegetarian. And I choose beef, which is 1 out of 3. And then further on that, compounding onto that, is your dessert. You can have lemon meringue or apple pie. So it's 1 out of 2 with those. So we need to know that in that case we are multiplying those probabilities, not like in our previous lesson on Monday where we added them. So as I mentioned to you earlier on, I know that you are the learner class that actually gets A's, and so what I've done in preparation for this lesson is I've really used Bloom's Taxonomy level 4 questions, so they really are quite stretching, but I know that you as learners will be able to handle this, and I know that you love it when you get stretched in terms of your understanding and especially on new concepts like this. I know that I can push you a little bit further than other classes. So we're going to go now to some examples, so let's look at these examples. As the handouts that you've got, question 1 refers to a student using the following incomplete tree diagram to calculate the probability of picking 2 different colored balls, orange, then green, or green then orange, from a bag containing 3 orange and 2 green balls without replacement. the bag has 5 balls total initially. So, and then you'll see, I'm not going to go through it all in detail, but just refer to question 1. Question 2 is 2 spinners are used in a game. The spinner 1 has 3 equal sections labeled A, B, and C. Spinner 2 has 4 equal sections labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. A player wins if they spin a vowel on spinner 1 and an even number on spinner 2. A student calculates the probability of winning as, and you can go through that. And then question 3 is a survey was conducted at a school to see how students travel to school and what their grade level is. Remember earlier on I spoke about this, a two-way table, and we used the example of taxi and bus and male and female. Well, this is just different variables. There's taxi, bus, and car, and then grade 8 and grade 9. Then following on from that, there are 3 examples which I'm not going to go into detail, but you can refer to your textbook, your Danville textbook you've got for grade 9s. On pages 313, 315 and 317, we've got 3 examples, example 1, 2 and 3. And then once we finish that, I have done a really interesting worksheet for you, which is really comprehensive around understanding and applying the knowledge that you've learned today. And you'll see it says question 1 to question 5. Please can you fill in your name, your class. I would like to mark this tomorrow, sorry. So I'm going to hand out this worksheet for you to start working on today, but I would like you to hand in tomorrow the finished work for me to mark it. Okay, grade 9s, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this class with you. Your participation was always amazing, and enjoy the rest of your day.